I said YouTube. Sometimes I call it YouTube.
Sometimes.
Oh, we are live. Oh, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Bubba and the Filipinas show. I'm Bubba.
I'm Ken.
I'm Louie.
And thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're going to talk about toxic relationships, whether romantic, working, classmate, next door neighbor, or anybody else you probably want to choke the hell out of, but you don't. So, first off, how are you ladies doing this evening?
We are so fine. We just went back from a long day, a busy day, and then we went to the gym to exercise, and we went to dance. So we're kind of more relaxed now than an hour ago.
So you ladies went dancing?
Yep.
Kinda. We just followed our friend. He taught us how to dance. A Zumba class. So we just followed her. And maybe you can call it a dance.
Okay, well that's good. Dancing.
Have you ever danced, Baba? Or do you dance?
Uh, very, very, very badly. I wouldn't even call it dancing.
Just what do
I
you call
just
this?
get out there and shake my big butt all over the place.
Well, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, I try. Okay. Okay. Do you need me to send you the link as well,
Sure.
Louis?
Can you send it?
Sure. I already sent it to Ken, so I will send it to you now. Okay. Toxic relationships. Oh, by the way, what do you think of the strike?
What
Transportation
about
strike.
transportation strikes? Well, it causes a lot of discomfort and hassle to many people. But I think the government suspended. What
Transportation.
about suspended the transportation strikes work? Well, causes a lot of discomfort and hassle to many people. But I think the government suspended.
Transportation.
What about suspended the transportation strikes work? Well,
Mute
causes
the
a lot
YouTube. Mute the YouTube volume.
many people. But I think the government suspended.
Transportation.
Suspended the transportation strike work. Well,
Mute the,
Yeah.
I think
mute the YouTube volume.
many people.
Mute the YouTube volume.
Hello?
You have to mute the YouTube volume.
Hello?
Hello, I hear you. I was just saying mute the YouTube volume because it was echoing.
Yeah, it's echoing back in the
Anyway, just go ahead and tell me what you think about the transfer strike.
Well, in a personal experience, it sucks because I had to walk a lot of overpass. So I walked, I think, 4 overpass to be able to go to the LRT or to the train and able to be able to ride and go to the. Well, but however, it's a form of uh, it's a form of
Communication with the government.
it's a form of communication to the government. Not able to tell the government what they think of the impending removal of all the jeepneys now in the Philippines. So, it's their way to show the government. So hopefully they can make some talks and have something to agree with. So there.
I personally I personally think that if they are trying to eradicate all the jeepneys, they have a better plan for all those jeepney drivers who will lose their jobs if they go on with eradicating all the jeepneys. And for the transport strike today, uh, a lot of people who went to work, uh, ay, wala pa yung word ngayon. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it kind of made it impossible for them to go to work. So yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So many people rely on jeepneys to get back and forth to work, and
Yeah.
it's a very cheap and inexpensive mode of transportation. And, you know, it's, it's not like America where in America, most people, pretty much anybody with 500 bucks in their pocket can get a car, or $1,000 can get a car. And it's not that hard.
Taxi
It
to get
depends
there.
on where you live. Now, they
Mm,
do have public transport. If you live in someplace like New York or Chicago or someplace like that, they have a pretty good public transportation system.
yeah.
Like DC, places like that. But you know, a lot of if you live out in the suburbs though, in a lot of cities, the public transportation system is not that
Mm,
good. I don't think. I mean, I
mm,
haven't rode public transportation since I was like a teenager in DC. So around the DC area. So it's been quite a long time. In America, I always had a car.
yeah, everyone. I think everyone has a car in America. A lot of people
Yeah,
has. Mm,
pretty much. I mean, like I said, $500 to $1,000, you can get a car. It might not be the nicest looking thing in the world or the most comfortable, but it'll run and get you from point A to point B. So, which is what matters.
yeah, I'm pretty sure the government is trying to do something about it, but right now it's not yet reflecting. A lot of infrastructures built are ongoing at the moment, ongoing building at the moment.
Yes. Well,
uh yeah.
that's like too. They talked about. I guess there was some talk about building a railroad here in Mindanao,
Oh.
and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that'd be brilliant. With Abu Sayyaf and what is it, the MILF and all them. Oh yeah,
Everyone.
going to travel from
it
one place.
yeah,
capital idea.
it has pros and cons.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the cons.
Well, here's the thing: if you do something like that, yeah, it's it would be impossible, next to impossible here, for them
Oh, why?
to police it.
Hmm?
Um, because even in wartime, like World War II, for example, even the Germans couldn't patrol every mile of track,
Hmm.
and it doesn't take much to derail a train, if I'm not mistaken. So nothing gets you publicity like causing a train to derail. So I think it would be very. Personally, I just think they should just work on improving the roads that they have, the infrastructure that they already have.
Yeah.
Myself, because what do you think of the roads in Manila?
The roads in Manila are not enough for the number of cars that are used here because a lot of residents from the provinces go to Manila to work, and then the city becomes oversaturated. Even though there are a lot of forms of public transport such as buses, jeepneys, LRTs, for some reason the roads are not enough for the number of car drivers. So I guess in order for the a lot of the work a lot of the workforce to be efficient in their uh, respective what do you call this, respective disciplines or respective work, um, it has to be built in a way that has to accommodate a lot of cars, or maybe I think that the public transport has to be improved, or the decentralization projects has to be um, started already.
Okay.
Actually, I think the government is trying a lot of different protocols to be able to lessen the number of cars, different types of transportation in the city. So now they're trying to control through number coding, alternate routes from the national roads to the other roads. So they're trying to declog. But however, like Ken said, a lot cars that are present in the main road. That's why traffic is inevitable.
The thing with the centralized cities such as Manila, Makati, Ortigas here in the north is that a lot of the business areas, business industrial areas are in the cities. So a lot of people from all the provinces take their time, like 3 hours a day, 2, 3 hours a day, just to go to their respective offices and work for 8 hours and then spend another 3 hours to go back. Mm, that is why I can observe it's happening, but it would not happen in an instant though. That a lot of the offices are being put transferred, or a lot of the buildings are being built here in the provinces or in the nearby cities, so that the people don't have to go to the cities or to the to Makati, Manila. They're trying to lessen the inflow of people to Manila.
Okay. Well, I mean,
That's what's happening here in Luzon. That's what we have observed. How about in Davao?
yeah, they had it today.
Are they trying to build more work, or are they trying to make work available in the provinces rather than in the city?
Not that I know of. There's plenty of work, I believe, in Davao City, if I'm not mistaken.
But
And Davao is,
traffic is also getting worse in Davao, right?
oh, traffic sucks here.
Oh, how
Even
much
even
more
my
here?
even my helicopter driver, he complains about it.
Oh,
No,
oh, you have a helicopter driver.
Actually, I
I
think
wish.
Cebu and Manila had the worst traffic.
Huh? Had the
Davao,
worst in the world.
one of the worst.
Yeah,
It's
I actually
uh,
saw an article that said that Manila had the worst traffic in the world.
Cebu. Yeah, that's what I
Mm.
read.
Oh, embarrassing.
Kind of an echo.
Yes.
But basically,
Okay.
if you have traffic, it means that you have a good business going going on.
Yeah,
Where it
but
depends.
it
So it
depends on the kind of traffic. It's too traffic, makes people less efficient with their work.
That it
So
does.
that's why we decided to put up the clinic not in the main cities, because there's just too much saturation, competition, and it's too far from home. We worked in different clinics in Makati, Ortigas, Manila, but when we computed the number of hours we spend in commuting or going to that certain clinic, it takes us around 4, 5 hours taken off from our day. So the clinic is a little bit more than 10 minutes from our house.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
do that too.
So
So
have so
all
have
mm,
have you guys ever gave each other a piggyback ride to work?
it's
Since you're
possible
that
because
close.
I can't. I'll have back injury.
Okay. And by the way, where is your clinic and what do you do?
Oh, our clinic located in Southwood City, Binyan, Laguna. It's a little bit more south than
Alabang.
Alabang and Manila. Um, we do a lot of any kind of dental procedures, but we're trying to specialize in dental surgery and dental implants. We're trying to get the clinic and ourselves ready first.
Okay.
We do all kinds of procedures.
Okay. Well, I just wanted you to be able to plug your clinic.
Yeah,
So, okay. Okay. Let's move to our topic, toxic
toxic
relationships.
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, what?
How can you tell if you're in a toxic relationship?
Okay. I'm gonna define the toxic relationship by my own definition of what I've read.
Okay.
So, um, relationships, as we all know, it is the way in where the two people or any kind of organization behave toward each other, and it's a state of being connected because humans are interconnected. Our lives are shared, whether with our family, friends, workmates, and we need to be able to adapt to all kinds of behaviors regardless of culture, race, age, career, whether we like it or not. So even though most of the time we do not have conflicts, or we try as much as possible to kind of sort out disagreements, some relationships require more patience and understanding than others. So these relationships are I am talking about for some reason has quite more difficulties, disagreements, trust issues. For some, even friendships have backstabbing. So because sometimes we value this relationship too much, we are willing to compromise. So the toxic relationships we are talking about are the ones that we think are not literally, but sometimes also physically and emotionally damaging to to a partner or to a friend or to whoever, as opposed to a really healthy relationship, which Louis and I have really healthy friendship. It increases self-esteem. It encourages self-improvement, and it is filled with compliments. And okay, so toxic relationship drains energy. So you know the relationship you have that makes you feel insecure and unsafe. Well, bottom line, I define the toxic relationship as kind of a emotionally abusive in a
Hmm.
way. Yeah. So that's my take on a toxic relationship. That's my opinion of it. Uh okay. Can you say anything about toxic relationships? Have you ever had one?
Me or Louie?
Baba, you. You first.
Well, I was married and got divorced. So
That
yeah,
talks.
yeah,
Were you emotionally abused? Just
Or
kidding.
kind of, yeah,
Were you physically abused?
both.
kind of. But
Oh,
I
that's really
coped with it.
toxic.
I coped with it though through the use of Cheetos.
Huh?
I
But
co- I coped with it through the use of Cheetos.
Hala,
how's that possible?
how?
I would. Well, I had a little workshop. We had four outbuildings on our house. I had like a little wood shop that I would go work in, and I would just go sit in there. I would, as soon as I got home from work, I would stop at the store on my way home and buy a bag of Cheetos and go sit in my wood shop and eat Cheetos. So,
That's an abusive relationship.
yeah. it drove me to a I was a habitual Cheetos
I had
eater.
I also had a lot of toxic relationships, but in relation to friends,
Yeah,
I
I've
had,
definitely.
huh?
I said I've definitely had my share of those.
I think everyone has their own stories of toxic relationships. It's just how you encounter, how you deal with them.
How you would define it as a toxic relationship, or it's just a work in progress?
Because a toxic relationship means that one or the two are not having a good interaction. Either one is insecure, another is trying to be dominant or in control. Well, it depends. Actually, in the situation.
It depends on
I think a lot
toxic
of times.
toxic people.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Ken.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
It's
no,
just a
no. Go
comment that
ahead. Go ahead.
toxic people drains energy,
All the time.
and positive drains valuable positive energy and takes them for themselves. There. That's just my comment. Go ahead. What were you supposed to say?
I think a lot of times too, toxic relationships cause us to also develop unhealthy habits or do unhealthy things. Like in my case, it was eating Cheetos.
Oh, okay.
But I figured it was better than drinking. So
Yeah. Better than drinking. What toxic habit have I developed? Did I drink alcohol?
I think one case is enough.
Yeah, that's the toxic relationship. I sorry. That's the bad habit I kind of developed.
how about you, Louie?
Thank
You've been
you.
quiet.
I'm supporting all her sentiments.
I have more toxic relationships, and she's just there to watch. So she's kind of like learning
She's,
vicariously.
oh, she's a great spectator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great spectator.
Thinking of
Toxic. So toxic relationships are a spectator sport.
it's very hard to be a
Spectator
spectator
sport.
because
Okay. Go ahead. No, I'm just gonna mention because I'm just gonna mention about this blog I've read just now, just 5 minutes before we went online, or or maybe more. Toxic relationships has types, so it's really interesting because categorized it, and I think I got all check in all of these in a few people. So one of it is the deprecator belittler. Did you hear it, Baba?
What's that?
Someone deprecator belittler, the individual
Yes,
who
yes,
constantly
yes. Somebody who
belittles.
puts you down all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually have family like that.
Can you please name someone? What?
I actually have family like that.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh yeah,
The world will not end up. The world will always have belittlers.
oh yeah.
It's up to you how to deal with them.
Well, I think too, people tend to do that too because they do that to cover their own inadequacies and feelings about themselves.
Hmm. But
Um,
it's up to you how you deal with it. If you were gonna treat it like uh, positive or negative criticism, bottom line is that you have to just move on and be better, so they can't say anything anymore.
well, I think there's a difference between constructive criticism and just outright nasty criticism.
Oh yeah.
I mean, by far. You can
Uh,
criticize somebody, but by the same token, too, you also try to offer them suggestive or helpful hints, helpful advice to help them better the situation.
mhm. I think here in the Philippines, it's a lot more mild
right.
than I don't know. I don't know what you've encountered, but here it's more of euphemisms than rude words.
Okay.
but it just means the same.
It's a matter of how you are trying, how you tell a person you want to encourage or it's a choice of words. How will then your intention will determine if it will be an encouraging or discouraging.
Remark. How well, I just have one question for you, Baba.
Okay.
How would can you give an example of such a statement that you would think is belittling
Well, call
in your own
if you
standard?
if you call somebody stupid, or I mean, there's all kinds of examples. You call somebody stupid, you could say, you never do anything right, things like that.
Oh, but maybe it also depends on who says it
How
and how they say it. Because I have friends who are not serious. I mean, honest friends who tell me the same things. I'm stupid, but maybe it depends on the context, I guess.
Yeah, it probably depends on the context and how they're saying it.
Mm.
Like, sometimes with your friends, you'll say, "Boy, that was really stupid," but you're kind of putting it in a light way, I guess. Um,
I say, if I say something stupid to Ken, she just laughs. She just laughs and doesn't mean anything. Probably yeah, it
Cause,
depends the context.
cause you, cause that what I've said earlier, I've been through a lot of belittling. What do you call this? No, not really. Uh, so I've kind of had a lot of what do you call that? Kind of have a lot of allowance for temper. I allowance for temper. I I can't think of the English word. That's the problem because this is not our primary language. You have to think about it before you say it.
yes, it's okay. Okay, could you give some examples of toxic people? What to
Mm,
look for?
toxic people. What to look for?
Yes.
The one Ken said is a believer.
Uh,
There's a believer. There's the one
the I sometimes when the person has a really bad temper or does not know how to control their temper or they overreact. Those are the or sometimes um, always depends on your becomes your burden.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is my definition of a toxic person or ano pa ba? Who has a lot of issues, like who can't get over one issue. Uh, they tend to mm, make the issue bigger than it is. Do you get what I mean? Hello.
Bubba.
Yes, I'm sorry. Say it again. I couldn't
Uh,
quite hear you.
sorry. Um, some people don't get over an issue immediately. Some people also make an issue about a very little thing and a lot and makes it bigger than it should be.
People who create drama or surround
Yeah,
themselves with drama.
yeah, you got it. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I
So if
think.
you have, mm,
Go ahead.
Yes.
I if I spot it on a person, I try my best to ex in to exert my influence. Or if they don't want that influence, I try my best to stay away or minimize the interaction.
The best
And
way.
yeah, because the negative energy, you get negative energy uh, easier than the positive energy. That's what they say. What were you about to say, Baba?
Well, I got something in front of me called
Mm.
uh, it's a like a blog called Hey Sigmund,
It's
Mm.
like,
and it's where the science of psychology meets the art of being human. And I
And
could
what does it
send
say about it?
actually, well, a few of these things in here are pretty easy, like manipulation.
Mm.
A lot of times, toxic people are very manipulative. They will,
Yeah.
they'll always, they'll always act like or give you the vibe that you owe them something,
Mm.
and they'll either take something away from you or do something that hurts you, and then they'll act like they were doing it all for you. It's particularly common in
Yeah,
workplaces or relationships.
that's
It would be
well, I
like
think
me saying to Louie, I'm having a dinner party. Why don't you bring dinner for 10?
I can I can pretend to bring up. So I think people that are in a toxic relationship, there are more of insecure, like what you said. They're self-centered. They want to have the dominance, or they're the one who wants to be in control. So they try to do or ask you to do something, or they're trying dominant at all times.
Yeah, I think a lot of times toxic people are just can pretty much just be summed up as being sociopaths.
Actually, they relate people. It's very hard to generalize.
but now since we label toxic people as toxic, um, we try our best to not be toxic to other people. Or if we're gonna do some other people favors, we don't try to like, account it, or we don't try to ask back for a favor, something like that.
Okay. And a lot of times, too, they won't own their feelings, they'll project them onto you.
Mm.
They'll project their feelings and thoughts onto you. And like somebody who's angry, but they won't take responsibility for it, they'll accuse you of being angry with
Mm.
them.
Hmm.
Like you've been in a bad mood all day.
A lot of people are like that.
Yeah, they
Like
are.
Mm-hmm.
people are consumed by the environment they're in. So sometimes we tend to be toxic even if we're not
Mm. Mm.
that toxic.
They kind of exist like their environment. Like for example, a very busy industrial company. Even though the work seems okay, they have to be something like that. Tama ba?
And sometimes your environment makes you toxic. So if other people are trying to do or ask you to do something, cram things, ask you a lot of favors, and then suddenly you become toxic. And then sometimes you project it to the people or the first person that you see. Well, that's not that. But the most important is that you don't try to live with it every day. Just be relaxed, chill, and breathe first for and think before trying to do any action. Okay. Bye bye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was going to say something else. They also never apologize.
Hmm?
Don't you always hate that people who you'll never hear them
What?
apologize or admit when they're wrong?
Yeah, yeah, I can relate to that a lot.
Very hard to admit your mistake. takes some courage to.
But the person who admits the mistake is the more mature. So there are also what do you call this? Toxic controllers,
Oh,
um,
definitely control freaks.
control freaks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of those. And then you have people too who they always want you to prove yourself to them. They'll put you in a position where you have to choose between them and something else, and you'll always feel obliged to choose them.
So they are very possessive,
Possessive. Mm-mm.
like control you and limit your environment to only to them.
Have you ever had uh posse- possessive and control freak? Have you ever met someone like that?
Are you a possessive
Or are
one?
you a
The possessive one.
possessive one? You're projecting you're a
That's-
toxic person.
Wow. I'm not.
No, she's not toxic. She makes things easier for you. Those are the person that is opposite of the toxic people. They make you feel better. They make things hard easier. They try to cheer up the mood.
Yeah,
So a lot of my friends are like that now because I'm practicing this kind of minimalism thing wherein it is more than possessing 100 things. It is more than that. It is surrounding yourself with people who have quality. So once I think that if you saw the signs of a toxic person or a toxic relationship, you try your best to make it to make it not toxic or to at least lessen the number of interaction. So you don't become toxic yourself.
yes, it's easy. It's easy to do sometimes. To when you're around people who are negative, it's very easy for their attitude to rub off on you, for you to become negative.
Mm.
You're having a great day, and all of a sudden you get around that toxic person, and it's just like
Yeah. Mm.
I was having such
Drink,
a great day till that jerk showed
Instantly.
up.
yeah, it
Yeah.
drains you very, very well.
Mm.
So sometimes it affects the entire day. Like what happened earlier.
Someone you met a toxic person? Can you tell us about it? Because it kind of reverberated to me.
I had a patient who came to the clinic very late. I think 2 hours late. So I told her already that I'll be coming from a certain area that it has transport strike. And but still I came up on time. I came in on time. But she arrived around 2 hours and she destroys schedule and that's why Ken had to attend to all the patients because I was late because of her. So the entire day I was so toxic, just trying to figure out how can I squeeze in all the entire schedule. Probably I
Oh. You projected to.
you.
No, you did not project to anyone. It just reverberated because um I didn't expect to have as much patience in the clinic. So I was supposed to do something and then a group of I don't know, everyone just went to the clinic around 12 patients and I didn't know what to do because I hadn't had lunch yet. So
Y'all just
the
gonna have to wait. I gotta
toxicity
have lunch
kind of
first.
migrated towards me. But then because we danced,
All
so
out.
it's all out.
I think my patient is the one that caused
The toxicity.
the one sole patient, and it's
The
just
patient who also did not what do you call this, divulge all the medical conditions. Sorry, we can take that. But anyway, that's our usual scenario. When one patient gets delayed, everyone else gets affected. And to be fair, she went up. She traveled for overpasses just to get to the clinic, and then the patient lives 5 minutes away from the clinic, but she's late for 2 hours. So I don't know why. We don't know why. We don't necessarily judge, but when it comes to scheduling, we try our best to be on time and professional. So because we had other scheduled appointments, so the toxicity reverberated, but it dissipated in the dance floor after we shook our booties. So Baba,
Yes,
once you're toxic, you should just shake your booty.
I guess so. That's a whole lot of booty to shake too. I'll tell you.
to be able to without
I was okay. Well, let me ask this: since you're both are Filipinas, explain to me what the whole purpose of Tombo is. Tombo,
Huh?
Tombo,
What?
Tombo,
What's? We don't know that.
the silent treatment.
this
Tampo. Oh, okay. We don't have tampo in States. A lot of I have European friends. They also don't understand what tampo is because everyone tends to be like so honest, so bland if they're what they're feeling. I think tampo is more of because it is silent treatment, but in a way, it kind of like I don't have to tell you about it. You just have to know.
Well, here's the thing: does it really solve anything?
What?
does it
Does
it depends
It
because
depends on who you do tampo.
sometimes you don't want to tell anything or keep up because you don't want to say anything bad. So you just have to be silent, think about things before you tell.
And
So that's
then
part.
because I think it in our culture to be conservative with our words. We don't want to impose our bad feelings towards others. So you should. It's like a silent way of saying that you should figure out why I am why I'm sad in the first place.
Because most of the time, it's the words that we say that cause our heart to hear people. So probably you need to think about things before saying it. Because once you say it, you take it back. So, well,
Tampo. Why? Who does tampo to you?
that's your friend.
she has before?
And then
Eh,
you didn't understand the cause.
You need to figure out why.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't because it's nothing's going to get resolved by not talking about it.
It's in America. It's called sulking, right?
Well, we call it. What are you doing? Having a pity party for yourself, like
Yeah,
a pity
yeah,
party,
something like that. Pity party,
a
self
pity.
pity.
Exactly, a pity
Sometimes
party.
I'm like that. I don't know why. I'm when I was younger, I'm always pity party with myself. But I kind of like shed everything when I didn't greet when I didn't greet Louie for her birthday. I didn't understand why she's not talking to me.
You will understand why. Because we were together for the entire day. The day before, the day after, the day after. She forgot.
That yeah, that's the tampo. That's our tampo definition. Silent treatment. Pity party.
PP party.
Pity
Probably.
party. Yeah, you could use that now. Oh, you
But
having a pity
not
party?
angry. It's not an angry way. It's like, oh, why did you not greet me like that? Something like that. Or why didn't you remember it our anniversary? Something like that.
She ate at my party, pero she didn't know it's my birthday.
See, I just love the food.
But we just laugh it off now whenever we remember it.
But those kinds of pity partying happens in relationships more. In friendship, it happens just like once a year.
Well, that's good.
I don't know. I can't generalize. Anyway, why were you asking?
About compo, I was
Yeah.
just wanted to hear a Filipina explain it. What about?
Oh.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
What can you say about it personally?
Well, I'm sure each person has their own reasons for doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
as I was saying, if you're not talking, nothing is getting resolved.
Yeah.
The issue is not getting
Yeah,
resolved.
of course. Communicating makes people understand each other rather than silent treatment. But
Yeah.
no, silent treatment is effective too.
They will talk. They just need time.
Well, if you think about it, it's manipulation.
Mm,
It can be, but if you use it,
well,
I want to hear your justification.
it's not, well, sometimes tampo is not meant to correct a behavior or to control someone or correct a behavior.
it's the way of how you do it. Diba? Some people are more aggressive. Some people are
Yeah. That's it.
confrontation. So
No,
they
a lot of
need to think about it, and then they probably later talk about it when everything is
when
are
they're not
cool.
already mood, not
So
already
they
impulsive. So you don't say the words that you would regret saying.
yeah. Well, it depends.
A lot of Filipinas are not confrontational. There are regional attitudes, like for example, Caviteña. In Cavite, a lot of people, a lot of women from the provinces of Cavite are really, really aggressive, confrontational. Batangas.
Uh,
And in
but you,
Batangas too. In Davao, no, no, very, very kind, very non-confrontational. But it has pros and cons
That's what
because,
you.
it has pros and cons because, with aggressive and confrontational people, um, in a way, it kind of settles the issues right then and there. But the problem with the aggressive ones are sometimes they tend to say words that they regret saying when they've already uh get got past their bad moods. In non-confrontational in non-confrontational people, they tend to talk after thinking about it. But sometimes the issues are not settled. So I think we have to learn to lie in the middle. And regardless of whatever attitudes a lot of people in our environment has, we have to adapt to it. Mm. Did I say that?
oh, excuse me
Happening.
there. Okay,
Mm.
okay, so can you give us an example? What is probably the most toxic relationship everyone has had?
Everyone, like individually, me
Like the
or
three of us. Yes.
mm. Well, No, no. Can I describe a certain phenomenon or certain situation where I think it's the most toxic? I have encountered a lot of toxic people in college. After af and then I kind of increased my own understanding. So I guess I would def it depends on the person, it depends on their labeling. When I was in college, we are in a university where everyone is kind of competitive. So therefore, I had friends who I thought were really friends, but when I was away, they were always talking behind my back, and they had really bad temper. And some people, there are only a number of people during college. They tend to point fingers at you when something goes wrong. I think that's the most toxic relationship I've had. Everything after that, after I also learned how to deal with those kinds of people, I don't think it affects me anymore. So I guess that's my most toxic because I felt like when I go inside the room, it feels like a burden. Now I don't feel it anymore because, like I said, when I see a sign of a toxic person or a toxic relationship, I try as much to exert my positive influence, or if not, if they don't accept it, I just stay away. Was that what you were asking? An example of a worst toxic
Yeah,
relationship?
yes.
So can you share yours?
Well, mine was when I was married.
When you are,
When you were
Easily.
married? When he was married?
Yes.
when
Well,
Why?
she was just a very needy person. By that I mean
Mm,
needy emotionally. It's she wanted me to
what?
always entertain her. To I guess she wasn't really good at making friends. She was very very introverted,
Mm-hmm.
and okay. It's my idea. Okay, when you're married, yes, you spend lots of time together. Obviously, you're married. You do
Mm-hmm.
things together and you enjoy each other's company and enjoy doing things together. But also, too, I think that each person does need to have maybe a couple of their own friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay not to spend every waking moment together.
Yeah, of course. You still exist individually.
you still have
I
your
think
own,
that's, yeah, I've never been married before.
so we don't know. I'll
But
just
I,
hear you.
because I can say for you, I've been married.
But yeah, she was really an emotionally needy person and manipulative.
Maybe why didn't you talk to her? I'm just wondering because in order for you to conclude that and to say that, of course, it has to come from a series of events or a series of situations. So, have you ever told her that you think she is needy? Because in our part, we need to be told what we need to be told of your opinions about us in order for us to improve and compromise. So, I was just wondering, have you ever told her before you concluded it like that?
Yeah, oh yeah, we talked about it numerous times
Mm.
till I was blue
And
in the
then what
face.
was the conclusion?
How did you respond?
Well,
Was there a resolution or
Cheetos.
just talk?
The
Oh no,
resolution.
might as well eat Cheetos. Dramatic. So that
Cheetos.
Cheetos is the key.
because when the problem arises, I think that there should be a solution and a resolution or an agreement and a change of behavior in order to define it as a resolution or an improvement. So I'm just wondering, Baba, because I've never been married before. So it did you have an open communication about it?
Yeah,
I
we
don't want to
did.
cry.
Not happy.
Cheetos.
Cheetos. Cheetos.
Oh, I know what's my gift to you
She,
on
she,
Christmas.
Ito,
well,
Cheetos, Cheetos.
she would have a lot of pity parties for herself.
Ah, tampo.
Not really top. Well,
Oh.
kind of yeah, but kind of no. She would just sit in a room and cry.
Did she have other friends that
Not
you allowed
really.
her to see?
Well,
Why?
I mean,
Not allowed?
well, no. I said she didn't really have other friends. She had a couple, but
she's
her
one
friend.
to
And then her friends also have a pity party.
Yes, her friends also had
Maybe
issues as
that's
well.
who she's always with.
do it.
That's why it's really important to be with people who are in a healthy relationship with you.
It's like when we first
Right.
got married. She had a friend who was really needy, and her friend would
She kind of
always
became like
she
that.
would always show up around dinner time too.
Crying or pitying herself.
She would show up around dinner time because she knew that uh, we weren't rude people,
Huh?
and of course we would offer her food.
Mm.
She was a really big woman too.
Okay.
Kind of not surprising, I guess.
Oh, that's why if you want to explain a person's behavior, you also have to look at her friends or who she's always with, who exerts influence on her. So that's kind of like a way a way not to necessarily conclude a person's life.
Well, I think a lot of it too. I should have saw the writing on the wall, but her mom was a lot like her.
So she
Well, that's why.
Her,
adapted.
and her mom was very, very controlling, and her mom tried that with me, and she really didn't like what I had to say to her.
Mm,
That's how you observe.
well then.
So,
So
I, she definitely wasn't in my fan club after that, or even before that, but definitely not after that.
that's why.
So,
Because we are um even though we are single, we try to learn from all relationships we have, like friendships, relations, family, friends, whoever. So I think um, it is easier for us, not necessarily easier though, but it kind of increases our own understanding,
Widen her
widen our perspective, regardless if it is romantic or friendship or family.
okay. Have you ever had a toxic romantic relationship, Louis?
I didn't have.
She doesn't
What's
have a
that?
relationship. She didn't have. She hasn't had a romantic relationship yet.
Are you serious? How old are you,
Yeah,
Louis?
36.
What?
Just kidding. She's 26.
Okay. And you never, I mean, college, none of that, huh?
Well, I've been dating pero there's no official relationship. Probably can ask him.
I'm sorry, I just had to ask.
That's no problem. Actually, it's not something to be ashamed
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just very unusual for a person to be 26 and not had a romantic
No, it's not
relationship.
unusual here in the Philippines,
Not,
Baba.
especially for the kind of profession that you're having.
Uh,
Because we graduated late. So,
oh,
started our life around
so
25.
this is our usual course. We went to high school until 16, and then we went to college until about 22. Sorry, huh? 22 ako. 23 for her. And then we took the board exam. And then after that, we studied again. In between those, we kind of meet people, and then we don't rush into things because we've learned from other people's experiences. We kind of try to discover other people first or us, and then at the same time studying, never
Indeed.
ending study. So that's why I can explain for her. For her,
Okay,
Explanation for
okay.
it's
Um,
better to have friends, guys.
well, yes, it's. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Hmm?
Could you say that again, Ken?
What?
It's good to have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Did you say anything after that, or it was just good to have friends?
girls
Right.
or guys.
Okay. Do
Better
you?
to know. Mhm.
Okay. I take your word for it. No problem. Uh, okay. What would you see as a good relationship?
Who are you talking?
Both of us, okay. Hmm. I think a good relationship um uh increases your confidence, self-esteem, and those that also encourage your self-improvement and continually improves with you or helps you to improve and do the things that are important to you. Not necessarily do things for you, but helps you achieve your goals or not become those people who does not become a burden to you and who you can count on. That's a
I
healthy
I
relationship.
I agree. I could definitely agree with that. How about you, Louie?
Mm.
Well, actually, almost the same. But to add on, I think a healthy relationship is someone that knows how to compromise to each other. Because not all people are the same. So it means you might have differences, but as long as you're trying to fix it together, trying to work on it, and then try to give respect on the other. So,
Regardless of culture or religion.
gender,
Mm.
because at the end goal of a happy relationship is you both grow together in all aspects of your life. Do your success together that makes you and the other person to be in a healthy.
Okay, that's a
Go.
good one.
I think
Okay,
You're the winners. Universe.
okay. So how was your brother just got married, correct?
good period
Yeah,
years
so
ago.
lovely.
And how
That's a
long?
healthy relationship, definitely. That's the only and foremost wedding that I've been to that I saw that they're so in love with each other.
And I cried the entire wedding.
You cried.
Because out of happiness. And I don't know, I can't explain my emotion. So that time, all I can feel that I want.
She'll cry on my wedding too.
That's why
Now, how did they meet? Had they dated for a long time
they've
first,
been
or
together for 6 years before they were.
Wow.
how
Galing
long?
tagal.
6 years.
That's long.
That is a long time.
And
So,
we were both the first boyfriend and girlfriend of each other.
Oh,
so if you have a boyfriend now, you're gonna get married 32.
I think
Now is your deadline.
lasted my time around 3 years.
and
Or
depending on how old he is, he'll look like the crypt keeper. You guys get
If he
married.
looks like the crypt keeper, you have to get married in a year, or else, or else.
That's funny.
This year is her deadline. By hook or by crook.
we'll make
Remember the person?
Okay,
Just kidding.
we- we've been on now for over an hour, so I think we'll wrap it up. Any final thoughts?
Hmm. I think I've said it all. Do you have any final thoughts?
so I think for uh toxic relationship, it's more of being aware. So in a toxic relationship, it takes two people. So one is the toxic and the other is the victim. So one needs to be aware. So sometimes other people, especially those who are toxic, they don't know that they are toxic. So if you're trying to like your wife, at least she is informed. So it's now her choice if she wants to change or to compromise for you both to be able to work on your relationship. So if not, and then probably stay away. So there.
Me.
Okay.
Me next. So all I can say and conclude is that since communication makes people understand each other, uh, with for the person who spots a toxic person, it is her moral obligation or social responsibility to at least try to make the person improve so that she doesn't do that to other people. Sometimes those toxic people does not know that they are toxic because they grew up in that kind of environment and culture, and even though they did not mean to do it to other people, they they tend to because it's a form of their behavior. So because our lives are all shared, we need to be able to adapt to all kinds of behavior and idiosyncrasies, culture, age, race, career. So in relation to the toxic people, um, it they have to be informed, or in our own selves we have to be less toxic, even though we sometimes kind of transform ourselves because of pressure, deadlines, um, harsh environment. um, we You have to first what do you call this, spot if you're being toxic or other people are being toxic. So in order for the behavior to stop, there has to be intercommunication. That's my conclusion.
Or probably you can see
Instigator.
sunshine among differentiate with the life.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Louis? You broke up
Spread
a
the
little
love.
bit.
So
Spread.
probably the sunshine ever. The one that radiates good vibes whenever you talk to people. So sometimes people might see it as a good interaction. You can think or you can affect them in ways, especially in your actions.
Definitely. I think what it boils down to is toxic people are just people who are very unhappy with themselves. And
Mm,
if you can't be happy with yourself and you're not happy with yourself, how the hell can you make somebody else happy? You can't. And I think there's easy signs to spot, like if somebody's really judgmental or if somebody's always negative.
Yeah.
Chances are that person is toxic, and you'd really be doing yourself a favor to not be around them. But
Yeah.
I think too, you would be doing a disservice by not telling them why you don't want to be around them. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, be nice about it
Mm-hmm.
and part ways with them.
Yeah.
Um,
It has to, the behavior has to be corrected so that it doesn't repeat itself.
okay. Well, thank you again, ladies, for
You're
another
welcome.
wonderful show and
You're
for
welcome.
gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. Thank you again, Baba, for
Having
sharing
us
us lessons.
lessons in the GP.
So if I'm sad, I'll just eat Cheetos
Choke.
or shook.
And I look forward to us doing the show again next week.
Okay.
And I will talk to you wonderful ladies offline, and I look forward to our show again next week.
All
I
right.
don't know what our topic will be, but I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Mm. Despite our
I want to hear
busy
about you.
schedules.
I want to hear about your trip to Surigao, though. First, that's
Huh?
just me personally, because I know it's a beautiful place, but I've
Yes.
never been there, and I would love to hear about where you ate at, how was it, so ins and outs for.
Oh my
A
god.
very good story about it.
It
And
was
you'll
really good, but
smile at laughing. So
oh my gosh.
For people who may come here and may want to go to Surigao.
probably. But I don't think
Okay. Now?
Well, it doesn't have to be now. We could talk about it next week, or we could talk
Okay.
about it now.
We'll
It's
talk
up to
about it
you.
next week.
probably.
Yeah.
I will prepare the details.
Okay, it sounds good. So next week we will talk about the ladies' trip to Surigao
and and
and something else.
we'll come up with the topic, huh?
Yeah, we'll come up with some other things. No problem. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, everybody. I'm Bubba and the Filipinas. And thanks for listening. And we hope everyone has a great week. And may the sun be shining wherever you may be. Now I'll turn this off. Okay.